Hello Guardians, welcome back to the channel. We're gonna go over armor mod improvements that I've made to just get some improvements on my builds. Now, what I usually do is I go on YouTube and I look up builds from, top tier players. They have a lot of guides, suggestions on how we should put together builds for any particular subclass. So that's what I was doing before. I would say about 2 weeks ago now, I started changing my mind on that and putting together builds according to how I play. So that caused me to go back into my armor mods and change quite a few things. And that also led me to find out some things that I overlooked, right? So with the armor mods, I'll start with the helmet. Is obviously I have my general armor mod, which is based on whatever the build is, the stats on the armor. So that's pretty generic. So next I usually have the heavy ammo finder, because I use hammerhead quite a bit. So I definitely want to have that to increase the drop chance of heavy ammo upon defeats or with defeats. The main thing that I did change is I switched from the energy siphons down here. I switched from that to the harmonic siphons. So I'm wearing 2 of those. And it basically does the same thing. So this one, rapid void weapon final blows create and overpower, and it only costs 1 energy. If you come down here, void siphon, rapid void weapon final blows create and overpower. It's the exact same thing, right? But this one costs 3 energy. And I didn't realize that the harmonic is not only 2 energy cheaper, but it matches whatever your current subclass is. So when I switch subclasses, I don't have to keep coming here and changing from void to strand to stasis, solar, arc, right? And I'm using up 3 energy. So that's what I would usually do when I switch subclasses. I would come over here and I would change my energy siphon. Sometimes I would forget. So yeah, that would mess me up as well. But the harmonics are really useful because when I equip a subclass, I have my armor mods just in sync with that. So again, with harmonic, they're gonna switch automatically whenever you change your subclass. So for example, I'm void right now, right? And the siphon is void. If I come over here and I switch to strand, the siphon changes to strand. So I'm like, oh, that's really nice. Same thing with stasis. Now it's a stasis siphon. So harmonic is really harmony. So if that's how you run your builds, that's how I run mine, it's really useful to have any of the harmonic mods equipped. So there's that. Going down to my gauntlets, same deal with the general armor mod. Just depends on your stats. And I never used a harmonic loader before because I didn't know it was really there. But yeah, increases reload speed for void weapons. And again, whenever you change your subclass, it's going to match whatever subclass you change it to. Except if you change your subclass to prismatic, you're going to end up having I believe it's a stasis mod. Yeah, so it changed to a stasis loader for prismatic. not sure if that's a good or a bad thing, but it has to change to something. So anyway, back to void. The loader is void again. So I'm like, okay, that's good. Now, if you compare the harmonic loader to one of the energy loaders, you're going to save one energy slot. So instead of it costing you 3, it's only going to cost you 2. And then the next thing I have is a grenade kickstart, because I love throwing grenades. When your grenade energy is fully expended, your armor charge is consumed. You gain grenade energy for each armor charge used, and we're going to go into armor charges a little bit more on some of the next, on one of the next pieces here. But yeah, I just want my grenade as much as possible. And then there's one slot left, which I just put on fastball. But as I've probably said before, you have to be really careful because this will improve your throw distance by quite a bit. So when I actually equipped it, I started throwing the grenade past the target, like clear across the map. So you gotta be really careful with your aiming or you'll miss the target completely. But yeah, other than that, it's the only thing left that costs 1 energy. So I just don't want to leave that one blank for the most part. So there's that. So yeah, the loader, grenade kickstart. And then also I wanted to say collecting an overpower causes you to gain 1 armor charge, right? Which is good. And I believe the armor charges increase the damage from your weapons. So yeah, and you guys can correct me in the comments if I'm off on that, but I believe that's what it does. Now to the chest piece, and for me, I've got the exotic on for this one. But just with the armor mods, again, there's a generic one. On any of the exotic armor pieces you have, you can actually purchase another slot, and it'll give you a +3. And again, whatever you put there is based on whatever can help you. Like if I put strength on here, that'll bring me up to tier 5, but my mobility is ridiculously low. So I've got +3 on there. And with the reserves, I switched this to harmonic. I used to use the void reserve for this build, which costs 2 energy. But the harmonic version does the exact same thing, only costs 1. So that definitely saved me a spot. And then with the next one, I used charged up. Now this one increases the maximum number of armor charges you can carry by 1. So normally you can carry 3, or that's what I've noticed before. I can carry 3 armor charges. Once you add on charged up, you can carry 4. And again, you want to build up your armor charges by collecting orbs of power. So you collect 4 orbs, you got 4 armor charges, and I believe the only way your armor charge is used is from the kickstart. The grenade kickstart is going to use up your armor charges. And then the last thing I have for resistance, you can go either harmonic, which is going to match whatever your subclass is, or you still have enough space to actually pick up void or stasis or one of these. So for me, that's a lot of room. I didn't have that much room to put all these mods on here at the same time. But the base, I just, like if I forget to switch this, at least I'll have harmonic on it to match my subclass. I looked over everything else, like Font of Endurance. I really don't want to use that because your armor charge starts to decay over time, which I don't want that. I want my weapons to have as much of a damage boost as possible. So anything that kicks in the armor charges to start to decay, I did not equip those. Emergency reinforcement, it actually consumes your armor charges. I didn't want to do that. So yeah, that's my lineup for the chest armor. Now my leg armor, I did make quite a few changes. Again, there's the general armor mod based on whatever your stats are. I equipped Harmonic Scavenger. I used to wear this one, which is 3 energy. Compared to the Harmonic, this is the exact same thing. It only costs 1. So I was kind of kicking myself with that. I'm like, I could have been using this the entire time. But it only costs 1. Again, if your weapons don't match your subclass, then you're still going to have to go over here. Like if you're a void subclass, but you want to use a strand energy weapon or a strand heavy weapon, or wait, not an energy weapon. We have strand kinetic weapons, strand heavy weapons. So if you want to use that, you're still going to have to use this one here with your void subclass, right? But if you want everything in sync, then Harmonic is definitely the way to go. Now with the next one, I kind of juggle back and forth between recuperation and better already. But I was reading the notes on Destiny Item Manager. The recuperation, when you pick up an overpower, it's going to give you 70 health points. It's going to give you 70 HP automatically. Better already, it's going to begin the process of your health regen. It's going to trigger your health regeneration, but it isn't going to give you a set amount of health. Once you pick up the overpower, it's going to trigger the process, but you're not going to automatically just get 70 HP. The problem with the triggering the regeneration is that if you're still getting hit, that's going to cancel out your regen anyway. So I went ahead and went with the recuperation so that if my health is critical, I'll go ahead and just automatically pick up 70 health points. So that's very helpful. And then because I'm not using 3 energy on here, I'm just using 1. That gave me enough energy left over to use stacks on stacks, which is picking up an overpower grants you 1 additional stack of armor charge. And of course you can equipping additional copies of this doesn't help you at all. So, and it's already expensive at 4 energy costs. So, but yeah, that's the leg armor. So yeah, I want the armor charges up as much as possible, and to have as many as possible, right? So that'll give me 4. And again, the only thing that's gonna spend the armor charge is the grenade kickstart, because it's gonna consume the armor charge to recharge your grenade. Now, how many stacks it uses at once, I'm not sure, to be honest. But that's the other thing I'm going to go ahead and check on, is how many, when the grenade kickstart triggers and you have 4 stacks of armor charge, how many stacks did it use? Did it use all 4? Does it only use 1? I'm not sure. But I definitely want to use that because I want my grenade to come back pretty quickly. And so finally, I'm on the class item. There's a general armor mod. And I was going to go with, which one? Utility Kickstart. But I changed my mind. Because this one also is going to consume an armor charge. But instead of charging your grenade, it's going to recharge your class ability, or go towards recharging your class ability. So I decided to just put all my emphasis or focus on just on the grenades. So I skipped this one and I switched it to Reaper shortly after using your class ability, and in this case it'll be your dodge. Your next weapon final blow spawns an overpower. The overpower is going to give you another armor charge, and so that kind of cycle continues. And then of course with that I have bombers, 2 bombers stacked. Reduces grenade cooldown when using your class ability. Right? So that's pretty self-explanatory. It only takes up 1. I still have 1 left. You could probably, if you want to do something more broad, you can replace these 2 with distribution, right? Like you would unequip both of these. Oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong one. Okay, hold on. Reaper, unequip this one, and go distribution. And that's going to use up all of your energy here. This one reduces all your ability cooldowns. It's not just focused on the grenade. And it's also stackable. You can stack multiple copies of this one. So for me, I'm definitely just gonna go with Bomber twice, because I definitely want to use my grenade quite a bit. Mainly because with this particular build, it has a -20 on my discipline, because the void grenades weaken targets, which is great, but they really penalize you on your discipline. So I've got the grenade kickstart to help with that, get some of that back, and then I don't think I have anything else that goes into it, but that is Echo of Undermining. And then I've got Echo of Instability. Defeating targets with grenades grants volatile weapons, or volatile rounds for your void weapons. And then if you defeat a weakened target, which you weaken the targets with the grenades, you create another Orb of Power, and you create a Void Breach with Echo of Harvest, which is great. Now, the Void Breach is not going to give you grenade energy. You're going to get class ability energy. And then I've got Echo of Starvation, picking up a Void Breach on an Orb of Power, grants Devour. So yeah, it all kind of is in sync together, but you do lose 10 recovery with this one. But if you're throwing, a bunch of grenades or weakening targets, you're going to be creating more Orbs of Power. So all of that is beneficial. And then, of course, I have that combined with Stylus Executioner, and then Vanishing Step. But in terms of just the armor, that's what I have. And this is gonna pretty much stay the same no matter what subclass I switch to, because my playstyle is just, it doesn't matter. My playstyle is the same no matter the subclass. So if I come and I switch to Solar, then that's what I'm gonna go with. And the harmonic mods, they're all going to switch to solar automatically. I'm going to use grenades like crazy. So yeah, I noticed that my playstyle really doesn't change very much. Now, with the other subclasses, you're probably not going to get penalized with the -20 for the discipline. So that's going to be helpful. So with solar, I'm up at 84. So yeah. And like I said, I have the same armor mods. Like this is for Strand. The armor mods are the same. I do notice that I have unflinching on this one. But yeah, stacks on stacks, everything is still there. And then if I switch to arc, there's my siphons, the loader. I've got unflinching on this one as well. Yeah, so now I'm looking at this. You can go unflinching or you can go harmonic resistance. It just depends on what you're playing. But if I'm going like easier content, then I'm not really worried about the damage resistance, especially if the build is strong enough. As far as my stats go, so these look pretty good. Tier 10, Tier 9, Tier 8. But I'm just testing out different combinations, really based around one exotic. But as far as the armor mods, they're going to be, a similar setup. I don't know if I'm going to stick with this helmet, but I'm definitely testing everything out. Now, the other thing is you can save a limited number of copies over here, or builds over here. So you can also save these builds to Destiny Item Manager, which is great. It just takes a longer time to load, like to switch from one to the other. And the other thing is like the Ghost and whatever you have equipped here, if you change that every time you change your subclass, the menu that's in the game is not going to save that information. You're just going to have to change this manually. My Ghost stays the same, but the emblem, sometimes the emblem changes, and the ship, sometimes this one changes based on whatever subclass I am. So there's that. But anyway, so I hope this was helpful for you guys, especially if you're constantly changing your subclass based on what activity you're playing. Then this will be helpful to not have to keep track of your armor mods as much as you may right now. So everyone, take care. Now, I did make one change to my armor. I did not like the effect of grenade kickstart because I have 4 armor charges. Once you use your grenade, it consumes all 4 of my armor charges. And yeah, that's not what I want. I want to keep my armor charges as long as possible. So I took off grenade kickstart and I replaced it with 2 impact inductions. I was getting my power melee back pretty quickly, I noticed. So whenever I use my melee, it's going to help reduce my grenade cooldown, which I needed because my grenade still felt slow. So I want to try to speed it up as much as possible. So yeah, grenade kick start out, 2 impact inductions are in, and I will see how that goes.